Okay, and so now, can you bring this screen to the front?
Which one?
Click anywhere in there. There we go. Okay, I want to see that VU meter and make sure that we have audio. Looks like we do. All right, excellent. Okay, so you can switch between 5, 6, and 7, and then when we're taking check-ins, 9. Yeah, I guess whichever one of those doesn't have the thing at the bottom is probably the one we want. But
What thing at the bottom?
the radio thing at the bottom.
Oh, we don't want that?
Yeah, I mean a little bit of that's okay, but
You just leave it and I'll take care of it when I get there.
Is there an 8?
there's nothing on 8. Nothing is assigned to 8. I think 8 was the other camera that's no longer connected. Max, relax. All right. Okay. So we are indeed live according to the photo that Chris Nepper just sent me. Thank you, Chris, for that. Um, yeah, we know that we're live a few minutes early. We're just going through. This is our pre-show show, I guess, making sure that the buttons work and that we know what we're doing. You know, of course we don't, but we got to fake it, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing. We're here faking it. There. Got a happy tummy. Nice big supper. Even though it wasn't fried chicken. Maybe next week.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Okay. Alright. Alright, just because you're hanging out with us on YouTube doesn't excuse you from checking in on a radio. We are looking for RF check-ins primarily. Um, it's very difficult to monitor the chat and the open broadcaster and Facebook and text messaging from Atlanta 60 and all the other things that have to happen and also be able to respond to chat stuff. So check in on the radio. We can respond to you there. Looks like 30 seconds to go. Okay, here we go. Good evening, friends, and welcome to the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. I'll be working off the Pine Log repeater tonight, but we'll be networked in with Sassafras, Ball Ground, Somerville, Crawford, Jersey, Lookout Mountain, McDonough, Noonan, Moreland, Zebulon, Columbus, and the Madison repeaters. Tonight our RF coverage will be in excess of 31,000 square miles. This net takes place every Thursday evening at 8 p.m. I'd like to thank everyone who has made the North Georgia GMRS the most expansive and active GMRS network in the country. Your net control tonight is Atlanta 946, WQIR 514. My name is Justin and I'm located in Woodstock, Georgia. On the net, you can talk about your day's activities, radio equipment, or anything you think we'd like to know. We break. This is a family-based network, so we encourage you to get your family involved. Love to hear youth check-ins. Once the floor is open, it is permissible to address the other members of the net by their name or tactical unit number. The use of your FCC call sign is only required when you sign in and sign out of the net. When signing in, please speak slowly, because that's how I enter on the keyboard. And clearly, as you give your tactical unit number, your call sign, your name, and your location. 4 things: TAC number, call sign, name, location. Okay. At this time, I'll take check-ins. Anyone wishing to check in on Zello, please call net control now.
This is 253 WQNV 274, Donald from Blairsville, Georgia. This is Atlanta 26, WREV 450. Flip in the Druid Hills.
Okay, taking just a moment here because Zello needs it. All right, at this time, net control will acknowledge Atlanta 253, Donald in Blairsville. Glad to hear from you this evening, Donald. Thank you for checking in. And we also have Atlanta 26, Flip in Druid Hills. Thank you, Flip, for checking in with us tonight. Looking forward to chatting with you here in just a little bit. Do we have any other Zello check-ins? Last call for Zello. Please call net control now. All right. Sometimes it takes just a bit for Zello to release and allow someone to talk, but that wasn't Zello, I don't think. Or was it? Did you see? She didn't see. All right. Okay, we're going to move on. Okay, at this time we'll take check-ins from any visiting transient licensed GMRS repeaters or any new members of the North Georgia GMRS network or any youth members 18 and under. This is anyone licensed as a GMRS operator who is not a North Georgia GMRS member but is in the area and would like to check in, or anyone who is new to the group, or anyone 18 and under. Please call net control now. We've been getting crickets on this one.
WRAH 210, this is Craig in Ackworth.
WRAH 210
Craig, Ackworth.
in Ackworth. Okay. Ackworth. Okay, net control will acknowledge WRAH 210 Craig in Ackworth. Thank you, Craig, for checking in with us tonight. Glad to hear from you, and we're looking forward to hearing your comments here in just a little bit. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and move on to any Pine Log check-ins. Now, of course, anyone who has missed their new or visiting check-in can check in at any time. But right now, we're looking for Pine Log check-ins. So anyone wishing to check in on the mighty Pine Log repeater, please call net control now.
This is
Atlanta 32, checking in from Ball Ground, WQQE 705.
Atlanta 291, WQIJ 279, in and out. Good evening.
Atlanta 948, WRER 430 is good. Woodstock, check me in and out, Justin.
This is Atlanta 91, WQXN 735, Afonso from Marietta, checking in, checking out. Good night, everybody.
This Atlanta 57, WQZC 882, Andrew in Holly Springs on the portable.
ATL 228, Stephen, 229 Marla, WRCK 347, Roswell, Georgia.
This is
is Atlanta 72 WRDM 549 in Swanee, Georgia, checking in and out.
Atlanta 40 WZF 998, in and out.
This is Atlanta 780 WQUV 439 Houston in off-sales.
Okay, that went pretty fast for these fat old fingers, but let's see if I was able to keep up. I have Atlanta 32, Chris in ball ground. Next on my list is Atlanta 291, Nick in Ackworth. Nick is in and out. Thank you, Nick, for checking in with us tonight. Always good to hear from you. Next I have Atlanta 948, Gary, right here in Woodstock. Thank you, Gary, for checking in with us tonight. Looking forward to catching up with you probably tomorrow and hearing of your adventures around the house. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 91, Alfonso in Marietta. Alfonso is in and out tonight. Thanks for hanging out with us. Next on my list is Atlanta 57, Andrew in Holly Springs. Andrew, I'm looking forward to talking with you here in just a little bit. And I have Atlanta 228 and 229, Stephen and Marla in Roswell. Thank you for checking in with us. Great to hear from you, and I'm looking forward to hearing your comments here shortly. I also have Atlanta 72, Daniel in Swanee. Thank you, Daniel, for checking in with us. And Atlanta 40, John, I didn't catch your location, but I've got you in the log as in and out, so thanks for hanging out with us tonight, and hope your week is going well. Looking forward to talking with you again soon. Finally, I have Atlanta 780, Houston in Austell. Houston, glad to hear from you, and looking forward to hearing your comments here in just a little bit. If you checked in and I did not call your name, it's because I didn't hear you, so if you would please come back. And anyone else wishing to check in from the Pine Log Repeater, or any new members, or anybody that didn't quite get in on Zello, go ahead and call net control now.
This is Atlanta 261, Scott from Holly Springs, checking in.
This is Noonan 40 WQZW 444. This is Larry from Noonan.
This is Atlanta 263, Jennifer from Holly Springs checking in.
Okay, at this time, net control will acknowledge Atlanta 261, Scott in Holly Springs. Thank you, Scott, for checking in with us tonight. Looking forward to chatting with you here in just a little bit. And we've got something interesting to talk about. Also on my list is Noonan 40. Pretty good call there, Larry, hitting the Pine Log Repeater all the way from Noonan. That speaks volumes about the incredible ears that the Pine Log Repeater has. So thank you, Larry, for checking in. I'm looking forward to hearing your comments. Next on my list is Atlanta 263, Jennifer in Holly Springs. Did I miss anyone? Final call for Pine Log, then we're going to go anywhere. All right. I don't think we missed anyone. Okay, hearing nothing, I'm going to go ahead and move on, and we will now take check-ins from any repeater anywhere. Anyone wishing to check in to the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net from any repeater or Zello, please call Net Control now. We've got 17 already.
Mm-hmm.
Well, is that all we get?
That might be for now.
Okay, well that's looking like that's all we're going to get. So with that, we'll go ahead and take it to the top. And anyone who missed the opportunity to check in is always welcome to check in anytime they can get a break, or at the end we'll ask for late check-ins. So don't feel as though you've missed your opportunity. We do want to hear from everyone. We've got a great list to start off with, and so with that, I'm going to head straight to the top to Atlanta, 253, Donald in Blairsville. Donald, how you doing this evening? Okay. So you can hang out or you can bail. Whatever you want to do.
Good evening, Justin, and good evening to the rest of the net. Nothing to report. Doing well up here in Blairsville.
Outstanding. Are you keeping socially distant in the cabin there in Blairsville? You're not inviting any bears in for dinner, are you?
Yep, we had one last night for dinner.
Well, I hope he was prepared well, because I understand they can be very tough. But with that, that's fantastic. I'm glad to hear you're doing well up there. And one of these days, we'll get past all of this and we'll be able to hang out again. But for now, stay there. And we look forward to hearing your comments again. Thank you, Donald, for checking in with us. With that, I'm going to go ahead and move on next to Atlanta, 26 Flip in Druid Hills. Was that you that I had a radio check with earlier this evening?
It was, Justin, yeah. How's everybody doing tonight? I just wanted to say hello, and yeah, so we're trying to stay virus-free. Ashley, my wife, and I are wondering why, what happened to our empty nest. We now have both our high schooler here full-time and our college daughter who is here for the spring. So that's good and bad, as you know what I mean, I'm sure.
Yes, these are the things that can make the house seem a little bit crowded. But I'm curious. Your daughter home from college, is she taking? Is she being forced, I guess, is for lack of a better word, to take the semester off, or is she able to continue her studies remotely? I'm just curious how that's working out with the college students.
Yeah, so she goes to Dartmouth up in New Hampshire, and their they're on the quarter system, and their spring quarter starts at the end of the month, April 1st, really. So she hasn't started it yet, but yes, she will be full-time online taking her classes for the quarter. And she is known as Atlanta 26 3/4, and let me put her on here in just a second.
Fantastic. Would love to hear from her. Uh, well, I guess go ahead and put her on, and I'll ask her for her name, or she can go ahead and just come on with her name.
Hi, this is Jack. Yep, all is good. Just waiting for classes to begin. Nothing really to do other than enjoy the outdoors at the moment.
Yeah, I suppose this is a major curveball, especially for folks in your shoes that were expecting to have a full college schedule of classes, and all of a sudden that's not happening. So a little bit of a setback and a little bit of change of pace, but hopefully you can use this time to gather some energy so that when it starts all back up again, you'll have the strength and stamina to go full force into it and be able to knock it out. Can you come back one more time with your name? I didn't quite catch that.
Hi, yes, my name is Jack, and I am Philip's son. I guess that's how you all know him, or Flip. Um, yeah, the goal is just to rest up at the moment and get a lot of reading done, hang out with my sister, and enjoy some family time that I haven't had in a long time.
Outstanding. Well, yes, and the family time is very cool. You know, my son has just recently left for the army, and we got a letter from him this week, and he was commenting about, you know, very often we would gather around the dinner table on the weekend and play card games, or we would play Risk, or we would play any of a number of games. They had a game called what was that called? It was called Exploding Kittens, and as ridiculous as it sounds, it's actually kind of fun. And so we played all kinds of games, and that's kind of slowed down because we don't have we don't have four players, and you know it's just nowhere near as fun with three. Um, so we really haven't played many games here lately, but I think we'll probably pick that back up uh, and occupy our Saturdays. But that's one of the things that we often did as a family, and my son Jordan is off in the army, and he commented in his letter that he really misses that. So take advantage of your time at home and spend some time doing quality stuff with the family, and get out, get some fresh air, and get ready for hitting the books good and hard when the time comes. Thank you, Jack, for hanging out with us a little bit tonight. Really appreciate that, and thank you, Philip, for making that happen. I've got you in the log as Atlanta 26.75, Jack. So thanks again for checking in with us. Next, I'm going to move on to I have Atlanta 32, Chris in ball ground. Atlanta 32, come on.
And there's Atlanta 32 here. Just joining my time off on the close districts here in Forsyth County. Is since I just got word that they're extending it due to the outbreak right now, I might be trying something new in my new adventures coming up pretty soon. That I just want to hold off until June, but I might be doing it a little bit early. All depends on what's going on. They'll be in the trucking world, so I'm going to be working on my Class A license.
Very cool. All right. Well, you know, that is absolutely an essential industry right now. Um, we need truckloads and truckloads and truckloads of toilet paper, among other things. And of course, no matter what is happening in the economy, trucking is a vital service that we all rely on far more than you would believe. You know, even the simplest things that you have in your house, the simplest, most uh, basic things that you have in your house, in one way or another, was on a truck at some point. So, you know, whether it's furniture, whether it's paint that you use to paint the house, whether it's kitchen appliances, no matter what it was, at some point it spent some time on a truck uh, getting delivered to you. And even things like, you know, homemade crafts. You know, well, that wasn't on a truck. Well, maybe not, but the materials that went into it most likely were. So this nation depends on trucking in a way that we don't even think of in our daily lives. But trucking is a vital, absolutely vital element to our everyday lives. And you know, this whole toilet paper thing is a testament to that. So appreciate that, Chris. That's going to be very important going forward, and I hope that you find a lot of success in trucking. I drove a truck over the road for many years in my past life. That was a long time ago. I put a lot of miles on the road since then. I hope it never happens again, but if I had to climb back into a truck, I could do it. I've driven through 47 states and Canada. So there you go. Thanks again for that, Chris. With that, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Next in our list is Atlanta 291. I have Nick in Ackworth down as in and out. Thank you, Nick, for checking in with us. It's always good to hear from you. Next, I have Atlanta 948, Gary, right here in Woodstock. Gary is also in and out. He is busy this evening, but he'll catch up with us, I'm sure, very soon. I also have Atlanta 91, Alfonso in Marietta. Thank you, Alfonso. It's always good to hear from you and good to know that you're out there listening. And looking forward to hearing your comments the next opportunity that you have to get on here with us. And that brings me next to Atlanta 57, Andrew in Holly Springs. Andrew, are you still working?
Good evening, Justin and everyone on the net. Yes, I still actually am. Believe it or not, we are essential, and I don't mean that jokingly. We're on the page that says we are essential. So people are just storming in to have their oil changes done on their vehicle, which they then tell me that they have nowhere to go. So take that for what it's worth. So anyway, hey, with everything that's going on, we can be very thankful over here that we are all doing well. No one's come down with anything other than some pollen sniffles and some sneezes and all that. So can definitely be very happy about that. So hey, there's always a bright side to everything. I figure all of this is going to blow over at some point, and everything will return back to normal. Just got to weather the storm, and that's what we're doing over here. Work hours will change for me drastically, actually. Going to have some more time off. So, hey, that could be a good and bad thing, but, we're going to try to focus on the good side of that and then keep plugging forward back to net control.
And that's all we can do. We just have to keep plugging forward. I think this is going to be a tough time for a lot of people, and some are going to fare through this better than others. But I think we're all going to come through it on the other side, and we'll have an opportunity to rebuild this country and this economy, and we'll be just fine when it's done. We just got to get to the place where it's done, and I don't know any way that we can do that without just taking some time. So thank you for your comments, Andrew, and appreciate that. It's always good to hear from you. With that, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 228, Stephen in Roswell. Stephen and Marla. Stephen, how are you doing this evening?
Doing great, Justin. Good to hear from everybody. Pleased to announce we have survived 2 weeks working remote, and it's starting to come together. It's a little more seamless today now that we have benefit of the technologies. We're still actively working full-time, and it has been quite a challenge to get people to adapt to new things and new technologies. One in particular, we've been using a lot of Zoom lately, trying to meet with job sites, keep people talking, and it's been very difficult to teach people to join the technology. Also, proud to announce we got on the GMRS network with live radios this week, so don't have to use Zello except for convenience. So all's well. Everyone here at home is healthy, doing well.
That is fantastic. And yes, I hear what you're saying. Working remotely has been pretty seamless for me. However, I get it that there's probably a lot of people that are being thrown into this and don't have any exposure or experience to some of the technology. And that can certainly be a challenge. I know that in these last few weeks, I have been challenged with some things as well, some technology stuff as well. For instance, I really don't have any experience with Skype. It's something that we've used as a novelty to talk to family and stuff through the years, but I haven't used Skype in ages. And here in the last couple of weeks, I've had a reason to learn how to use Skype. And in fact, we used Skype for Saturday evening's trivia net, and we'll likely be using it again for the net that is coming up this coming Saturday. And we'll talk more about that here in just a little bit. But yeah, Stephen, that remote technology is good, and I, in a lot of ways, it's a lifesaver because in today's economy and today's workplace, if we didn't have the remote technology and we all still had to go into the office, it'd be a tough time trying to get this virus spread to stop. And so this is what a benefit it is that we live in this time and have this method of sheltering in place. Stephen, do we have any comments from Marla this evening?
Hi, I'm Marla. My first time on the air or radio, and I hope I push the right button. I didn't push the button hard enough. I don't know. Testing to see if I'm coming through.
Yes, I believe you pushed the button hard enough. I think maybe a little more modulation, which would be to say, speak a little bit louder into the microphone. But I got most of what you were talking about. This is your first time on the air. It's great to hear from you, and we love to hear the ladies come on the air and tell us a little bit about their week as well. So that's good stuff. I hope that you are enjoying the net and are encouraged to come on the air more often. And hopefully next week we'll have 947 sitting in his net control. Uh, we just got news today that 947 is being furloughed. So the her workplace revenues are significantly down, and as a result, they are doing some cost-cutting measures. So 947 is going to be at home, and so I expect next week we'll have her on the air doing this the way that it should be instead of the way that I do it. So that'll be good stuff. Well, I appreciate your comments, Marla, and hope that you have a good week. And like I say, I hope that you're able to check in next week when 947 is here. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 72, Daniel and Sewanee. How you doing this evening, Daniel?
Doing pretty good. I've been fussing with a new one, a mobile antenna on the car, and I think it's got the wrong size, but not sure if the dream is good or not, but my receive is really weird. Other than that, everything's been good. Kind of doing one day on, one day off at work, kind of with service calls that we're exchanging and then training at home. But yeah, it's pretty crazy out there.
Okay. Well, yeah, whatever you're doing with that antenna on the mobile, it's coming through. I've got some static with you there, but you're fully readable. So, you know, if you could do something to improve your signal, that would be worthwhile, but it's getting by. I'm not sure where your SWRs are, but I couldn't hear anything that suggested your radio was having difficulty. So, you're close. You're certainly close on that antenna. And working every other day, I suppose that that's one of the measures that we have to take to keep our distance, our physical distance from others, and also deal with a lot of businesses um, just don't have the volume of work that they had a few weeks ago, as Andrew was saying. Even though the automotive repair industry and auto dealers are considered essential, I don't think there's going to be a lot of people rushing out to the dealership to buy a car right now. And I know in my circumstance, you know, it's 3.5 miles to the parking ride, so the 7 miles a day that I typically put on are not happening. So here we have this opportunity to enjoy some of the best fuel prices we've had in ages. Excuse me, and nowhere to go. So um, that's an interesting condition. And one of the things that we talked about is now Julie has time that it would be a perfect time for her to be able to go to Indiana because she has time off, and time off is a hard thing for her to get. But we can't go to Indiana because our daughter works in the medical industry, and she has told us to stay away, and because she's in and out of this all of the time, and her parents are of that age that we probably shouldn't be around them either. So we're not going to go anywhere. We're going to stay right here, and we're going to shelter in place like everyone else is. So thank you for that, Daniel. I appreciate your comments, and yeah, see if you can get a hold of a meter and check the SWR and tune that antenna up, and I think you'll be good to go. Next on my list is Atlanta 40 John. John is in and out tonight, and I'm going to take a little break so that I can cough. I'll be with you in just a moment. Sorry about that, YouTube. I don't have a mute button that I can reach. All right. Hopefully I got the mic far enough away that I didn't blow anybody's ears out, but that was fantastic. All right, so we are at Atlanta 40 John. Okay, thank you for allowing me that brief little break there. That tickle in my throat's been coming for a little while. We just checked in with John. He's in and out. Next on my list is Atlanta 780 Houston in Austell. Houston, how are the exercises doing, and how is the recovery on that knee?
Good evening, Justin, and good evening to the rest of the net. Everything's going real well. I can't complain. Just been homebound for a month now before this virus thing started. So, not much has changed here. We're looking forward to getting out. I'm kind of like you. I wish I could go out and camp or something and go spend some money on the gas, go somewhere, but I don't think there's any places open now. I did get to make my doctor's appointment this morning at 7:30 by telephone. That's something else they got started new. And I guess it's a virtual doctor's appointment. Back to you, Justin.
That's fantastic. You know, and right when all of this was happening, I also had a doctor's appointment, and I had gone into the doctor, and they drew blood, and I left a urine sample so they could run all their labs. And typically, with my doctor, I do that on on whatever day of the week, and then a week later is my actual doctor's appointment. That gives them a chance to run the labs and look it over and know what it is that's going on. But I canceled my second appointment to actually visit with the doctor because it was a morning appointment, and when I had the labs drawn, I then had to drive into Atlanta and find a parking spot at 10 in the morning, and I spent 20 minutes driving around a garage looking for a parking spot, thinking I'm going to have to pay to exit this garage and go find another garage because that place was just jam-packed full right next to the building where I work. And so I thought, well, I'm not doing this again next week. So I canceled that appointment with the intention of making an afternoon appointment. And well, then we got sent home from the office here in Atlanta, and a lot of things happened. And so I rescheduled the appointment for this week, and like you, Houston, was able to make that appointment over the telephone. And that was pretty cool. I asked the doctor if he'd been doing this, all along. He says, no, you're my third one. So it's brand new for him. It was brand new for me. But I think that's, I don't think you can do all of your appointments that way. The next appointment I'm going to have with him is going to be for a physical. So I don't know how you can do a physical over the telephone. It just doesn't seem like that's going to work. But if we can do, I would be very happy to do a lot of these appointments over the phone rather than have to mess with parking in Atlanta because of a doctor's appointment. I think that's great stuff. So glad that you're doing well and that your recovery is going well. And I don't know for sure, Houston, but I believe you could probably hook up that camper and pull it to a handful of places. I know that Kohl's parking lots are going to be pretty empty, And I would imagine there's going to be a number of places of that nature. Probably several shopping malls that have nothing going on. Um, but I don't know that I'd recommend that. But yeah, Houston, be a good chance to get out and just go for a drive. But you can't get out of the truck when you get anywhere you're going. So pack a lunch and come on back home. Thank you for that, Houston, and we'll look forward to talking with you again real soon. I'm going to break here for just a moment. I don't have to cough this time. It's just I've had this key down for a long time, and I don't know. Seems like I should break. Next on my list is Atlanta 261 Scott in Holly Springs, and we've got an interesting project coming up here real soon, and I've asked Scott and Jennifer to help us out this coming Saturday night, and they are going to be hosting our Cabin Fever Net Saturday evening at 6 p.m. For a scavenger hunt, and I'm looking forward to that. Scott, what are your thoughts?
Thank you, Net Control. This is Atlanta 261. I was very humbled and honored to be asked to hang out with you guys maybe Saturday evening at 6 o'clock. So Atlanta 263, my better half, and I have been coming up and butting heads with some fun stuff. They have actually done some scavenger hunts online a couple times this week with neighborhood folks and folks from school. So we are planning and anticipating everybody to come out and hang with us, I guess at 6 o'clock Saturday. Let the cat out of the bag. Thank you, Net Control.
Yes, I'm very excited. I'm very excited for this coming up on Saturday. And how this is going to work is Scott and Jennifer are going to host the net, and they will talk about things that we will have to go around our home and search for. These will all be household items, so there's no need to run out and get in the car and go someplace. Well, I suppose unless you don't have something, but you should have most of these things in your house. And when you find the thing that they're looking for in a scavenger hunt, you'll take a picture of it with your phone and you'll post it to our Facebook page. And then you'll come on the radio and announce that you have it and talk about it and describe what it is and what color it is and how many batteries it takes and how long the extension cord is and all of those things. And we think that's going to be a lot of fun this coming Saturday evening. And we look forward to playing the scavenger hunt with Scott and Jennifer Vaughn. This is the second of a series of cabin fever events that we intend to hold. And if anyone has any ideas or if anyone would like to participate and host a Saturday evening net, I would love to hear from you. These are going to be a lot of fun, and we'll keep doing them until we run out of ideas or we run out of guests to host them. So that's our deal. So thank you for that, Scott. And with that, I'm going to move on to Noonan 40, Larry in Noonan. How you doing this evening, Larry?
Well, gracious good evening, Justin. I trust you and everyone are doing well as could be expected under circumstances. I'm doing great. Just to let you know, I did get a package today with, I guess, supplies from the trivia contest. Unfortunately, I have not opened it yet because the mail is still in quarantine. But I'm looking forward to opening it. Noonan 41 was surprised that you actually sent something. So that was great. Things are going well here. We're staying, staying isolated. I did find out that our son, the company he worked for, reported one of their employees had a positive case, so they have shut their plant down. And he is now on self-isolation. And the problem with that is he was supposed to be going with us this weekend to provide physical help for moving. He was doing the physical help for us to move young Sarah out of the dorm into her first apartment. So that's what's going on this end. Justin, back to you. This is NN40.
Wow. Well, I can absolutely understand the envelope being in quarantine, and I think that's an excellent idea. There's no telling whose hands have been on that package since it left Woodstock, and I think that's a great idea to just leave that thing in a safe place for a day or so. It sounds to me like it arrived without postage due. I think that's a good thing. That's only because I had 947 mail it since she was going to the post office anyway. So there's no postage due apparently on that envelope. But if you get the opportunity to have a look inside at the uh, hodgepodge of wooden nickels and pins and stickers, and bumper stickers and postcards, I think you'll enjoy that little bit of a collection there. And we have a great prize in mind for Saturday evening's scavenger hunt. So stay tuned to find out what that prize may be. I think we're probably going to wait till Saturday to announce that, unless Jennifer has different ideas. But thank you again for that, Larry. Sorry to hear about uh, not having any help for the move. I know that that can be a lot of physical labor, but under the circumstances, we've got to make sure that everybody in the family is safe, and I think a little self-isolation under those circumstances is appropriate. Um, to my knowledge, no one at Norfolk Southern has had a positive result for coronavirus, but there have been several railroaders across the country that have at various railroads, and it is a concern in our industry. But the nature of our work, for the most part, we don't have that many people that work in close quarters with one another, so we're able to comply with the physical separation and the not having gatherings of large numbers of people. And in workplaces where we do have uh, many people, we are just asking people to keep their distance. And most of our work is outdoors, so keeping your distance is something that you can do. And so the railroad is going to soldier on, and we're going to continue to provide freight transportation to this country. And I know that the passenger railroads are trying really hard to adapt to the changes in ridership and still maintain some level of service. Um, that's going to be a huge, huge, huge expense and a huge loss for passenger rail because the revenue is not going to be there from fares, but they still have to provide that service. So we'll have to see how that all shakes out. But I think of all the industries that are going to need some federal assistance, passenger rail is probably going to be one of the big ones. Thank you for that, Larry. I appreciate your comments and looking forward to hearing about what that prize is for the scavenger hunt. With that, I'm going to move on to Atlanta 263 Jennifer, our co-host for Saturday evening's scavenger hunt. Jennifer, it's great to hear from you.
Good evening, everyone. It's really good to hear everybody tonight and hear how everyone's doing during this upside down time in our world. It's been pretty crazy. Having the kids around all the time. I think we're all getting a little bit restless, but we're just trying to stay busy and have fun. Like Scott had said, we've done a couple scavenger hunts with our friends, and we've used a couple different apps to do that on our computers, and it was pretty chaotic, but it was a good time. We all had a good laugh and just kind of got everybody moving a little bit. So I'm really looking forward to Saturday and get to hang out with everybody. So please join us because we really do plan on having a good time.
Yes, I'm excited. I think this is going to be a lot of fun, and we had some minor technical snafus with last week's event, and the trivia questions ended up being a lot harder than I think any of us expected them to be. But it was a random trivia question generator, so those were all random questions. But they were tough ones, except for the hamburger bun question. That one seemed to be, I mean, that was about, I mean, questions about food is really what this group should be about. But I'm looking forward to Saturday. I think this is going to be a ton of fun. Running around the house, taking pictures of our scavenger hunt finds, and talking about them on the air. This is going to be a lot of fun. So that is Saturday evening at 6 p.m. And we hope as many of you that are available can join us and participate in the organized chaos. This is a great way to spend some time, engage a family in an activity, and share in the radio hobby, and burn off some of that cabin fever. So that brings me to the end of my list. Jennifer, thank you for your comments. And at this time, I'm going to take a break to see if we have any late check-ins or any comments. The floor is open. Please call Net Control now.
345 WQWZ 266. How copy, Joe?
This is 29, Marty and Tyrone. WRCU 796, late check-in.
This is Noonan 25, Joe, WRCL 957, late check-in.
WRCR 952, Tim in Stockbridge on Zello tonight because the McDonough repeater has gone Tango uniform. Check me in and out, Justin, and I will be listening on the side.
Okay, at this time, Net Control will acknowledge Atlanta 345 Steve. Steve, I didn't catch your location, but it's been a little while. It's fantastic to hear from you, and I'm looking forward to hearing your comments here in just a little bit. Next on my list, I have Noonan 29 Marty in Tyrone. Thank you for checking in with us, Marty. As long as you make it before we close, you're never late. And we also have Noonan 25 Joe in Noonan checking in with us tonight. Thank you, Joe, for that. Looking forward to hearing of your adventures this week, and love to hear a little story about your adventures last night. Next on my list, I have McDonough 22 Tim from Stockbridge checking in on Zello. I'm glad you were able to get in, Tim. And I've been meaning to announce for a while now that the McDonough repeater is down. I was just informed of that a short time ago, but I'm too busy talking to get a word in edgewise. So, but thank you for that reminder. Yes, the McDonough repeater is down, and the wizard behind the curtain is looking into the matter as we speak, and a solution is forthcoming, either immediately or later. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and move on up to Atlanta 345 Steve, and let's see if we can find out what he's been up to for a while. Hey, Steve.
Got me okay, I'm on a portable on the front porch.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of noise in there with you, Steve, but we've got you.
Yeah, I just on the front porch watching. I remember it was Thursday night. I ran in there and grabbed my portable, cut it on. Y'all were just carrying on, so I figured I'd check in here toward the end. Good to hear everybody. Houston, good to hear from you, buddy. Larry, out there in Noonan. Hadn't talked to y'all in quite a while. Retirement's being good to me. I'm very proud to be a no longer essential employee, so essentially I sit on the porch. That's about all I got for y'all. I hope everybody's safe out there. Y'all take care of yourself. Stay in the house as much as you can. I recommend it.
Well, congratulations, Steve, on the retirement. That's cool stuff. Glad that that has finally come around for you. And yes, it has been just a little bit since we've heard from you, but glad to have you back in here. You're always welcome to check in, and it's good to catch up. A non-essential person. Well, that's hardly the truth, but I do understand what you're saying. And front porch sounds like an excellent place to occupy a Thursday evening. And we hope that you'll think of us in the coming Thursday evenings and check in a little bit more often. And as you've heard, we do have a little Saturday evening thing going on. Not necessarily a permanent scheduled thing, just something we're doing to bide our time as we suffer through sheltering in place. So if you have the opportunity to check in with us on Saturday evening at 6 p.m., I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So again, thanks for checking in. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and move on to noon and 29, Marty in Tyrone. Hey, Marty, how you doing tonight?
Good evening, Justin, and everybody else on the net. I trust and hope that everyone is doing well and learning more about themselves and everyone they share their space with, because we're certainly obligated to do just that at this point in time. I had to forego my crowd gathering and handshaking ceremony that I typically do every day of the week. No. But I think we're all experiencing that. I have found there is a significant advantage to being at least semi-retired and over the 6-0 mark is that you can get in the store a little bit earlier. Quick reset. Although I have not taken advantage of it, that's on the list of things to do for tomorrow, so I can actually get in there and find something besides the healthy foods to eat. The only thing I found the other night was lots of vegetables, fruits, apples. Nobody seems to like apples. And frozen fish and calf's liver. Luckily, I like all of the above, so we were good for the week. With that said, I trust that everyone is making the best of it and don't go stir crazy. Certainly, everyone has to do their best to stay healthy, stay safe, and stay virus-free. Working towards the NVIS antenna to be ready to go for this coming weekend on the amateur radio side of things. And Joe might want to say something about that, but it's part of the Aries activities. Put a switch out there for that, and we'll have the antenna up and running for at least the 40-meter band tomorrow. So we'll test that all out, and that's about it from here at the home front in Tyrone. Back to net from noon and 29.
Well, thank you for all of that, Marty. And yes, I imagine that would be a worthwhile advantage to the over 60 crowd to have that hour of time in the morning. I understand that not everyone is respecting it, and that's unfortunate. But there's always going to be those people, and not a whole lot can be done about it. It's a good rule to have, but if people don't feel like the rules apply to them, then well, hopefully that's a very small minority of people. But I have heard that that's been happening. Um, and I've noticed too that the shelves at the local grocery have not fully recovered, and I find it interesting that this far into this shelter in place, we are still seeing the stores struggling to keep up. Um, that surprises me because we don't have a major influx of people. We have the same number of people eating the same foods that they've been eating all along, unless it's just that they're eating that much more food because they're not going out to the restaurant. But uh, I would think that we would normalize on that more quickly than we have. But I do believe that we're just days away from the store shelves getting fully restocked, and supplies and the hard to find things are going to come back around because the people that have hoarded those things have got to be running out of room. And um, you know, at this point, most stores have limits on how many things you can buy anyway. So, but I've not had the opportunity to get that early bird shopping because even if I were old enough, and I'm close, but I'm not there yet. Uh, but if I were, I just can't get out at that time of the morning. I'm busy here with the railroad, so yeah, that's just the way it is. But great to hear from you, Marty, and thank you for your thoughts. I appreciate all of that. Looking forward to hearing of the Aries Adventures and the NVIS antenna structure and see how that performs under testing tomorrow. And let's hear from Joe, Noonan 25, and see what he's been up to and what he has in mind. It's going to take him a moment because he's on probably Zello. And if I jump back in there and say Noonan 25, it'll take him even longer. Noonan 25, are you able to talk with us, or are you busy with other nets and other obligations?
Well, there you are, Justin. Zello's been cutting in and out. I'm getting about 75% of your transmissions. Yeah, okay. So a couple quick things. First of all, we had a blast last Saturday night. I know Scott and Jennifer are going to do an even better job this Saturday. Yeah, those questions were a little tough. Sorry, everybody. We didn't want them to be too easy. I think they were probably too easy for Larry's Noonan Nitwits team, but we had a lot of fun nonetheless. Let me let it recycle. So yeah, some of y'all probably know we shared this on Facebook. Last month, Mary Catherine and I, Noonan 26 and I, were on the cover of CQ Amateur Radio Magazine. Something we didn't seek out, it kind of found us out, and then one thing led to another, and Dr. Bob Heil of Heil Sound and host of Ham Nation Podcast saw the magazine cover and reached out to me and asked if we wanted to be a guest on his show. And we were last night. That was pretty cool. He's pretty well known in the music industry and in ham radio circles. And in the process of planning for that, I asked if he wanted to reciprocate and speak at our Ham Radio Club meeting. Let me let it recycle. So he did. So last night we got to be his guests, and tonight he was our guest. We started at 7. It wrapped up about 20 minutes ago. I did record it. We did it on Zoom, so I will post it. I'll post a link to the Ham Nation thing we did last night, and then I'll post a link to the recording of him on our club meeting tonight. He actually played the organ for us, something I didn't know he did, which was real cool. He's 80 years old, and he's a blast. So anyway, thanks for checking in, and looking forward to talking to everybody Saturday night. Back to you, Justin. This is Noonan 25, WRCL 957.
That is fantastic, and yes, I had a lot of fun watching you and Mary Catherine on the Ham Nation podcast last night. That was really cool. Very cool to have someone that you know appear on a nationally syndicated program, even though it's just a podcast type, a niche ham radio type of a program. It wasn't like it was on CBS or NBC or anything of that nature. But as far as I'm concerned, it's just as cool that you were there as it would have been if you had been on CBS or NBC or any of those. So very exciting stuff. I really enjoy the opportunity that you guys had to share your passion for radio and community with Dr. Bob Heil. And yes, I was aware of the fact that he was an organ player. In fact, I recall that he was an organ player in old time theater that he played for the movies back when that used to happen. Now that maybe I'm remembering that wrong, but I think I remember a story um, regarding Bob Heil and playing the organ, and he has a lot of old theater connections and stories. And one of the stories that I remember with regard to Bob Heil was the fact that back when music bands were appearing on television shows and just beginning to start doing touring type concerts, most of the concerts that they would play at would be in clubs because no one had enough equipment. No one's guitar amplifiers or drum kits or vocal amplifiers were big enough for them to play in an arena. So most of those bands would appear on TV shows, and then they would travel the country and they would play in various clubs and play to small audiences. And it was Bob Heil who had taken some speakers out of a theater that had closed. He bought the speaker and the sound system and loaded them on a truck and took them to a concert venue and set up a large sound system for the band to play through using some secondhand uh, theater speakers that he had acquired, and that was the beginning of bands being able to tour and play to stadium-sized audiences. And Dr. Bob Heil pioneered that back in the day. I don't remember what years those were, but it was early on when rock and roll was just starting to become a thing. Let me break. So very cool stuff that you were able to get him to reciprocate and make an appearance in your ham club meeting. I'm fascinated that he did that. I remember you talking about that, but I'm looking forward to seeing that link, and I definitely will watch it. And I was thinking tonight, because I remember you talking about having a ham club meeting on Zoom, and I thought, I need to participate in one of those. Um, Zoom or whatever method of those kind of meetings. Um, most of the ham clubs that I'm involved in are too far away from me to attend regularly, so that could be a great method for future ham club events to allow us to actually participate in, even from a distance. So there's more application to it than just simply the circumstance that we find ourselves in today. I think going down the road, that may be a potential new normal. And what a great way to get people involved that maybe are shut in and can't get out of the house. So I think Zoom is a great platform, and I think we're going to start seeing that become a normalized part of our everyday lives. So cool stuff, Joe. And yes, I think Saturday is going to be a lot of fun. I hope you and Mary Catherine are able to make an appearance there, participate, and wait until you hear the prize. I think you're going to love it. Next on my list is McDonough 22, Tim in Stockbridge, reporting that the McDonough repeater is down. That's a bummer, but appreciate you checking in, Tim, and thank you for making that effort on Zello. And that brings me to the end of the list. So, if we have any additional check-ins or any comments, the floor is open. Please call Net Control now.
This is Craig and Ackworth. Hey, this is 26. I wanted to just update your log. Jacqueline, Atlanta 26 and 3/4 is JAQ. She goes by Jack, named after her grandmother. Just also wanted to mention to you all out there in the net that, these times remind me a little bit of that ancient Chinese curse that goes, may you live in interesting times. So that will give you something to think about. I'm looking forward to Saturday night, and I appreciate all that you've done, Justin, tonight for the net. It's been great. Thanks. Atlanta 26, WRAB 450.
I work for the county school district, so I'm not at work right now, but fortunately I'm getting paid still, so that's a good thing. And we're all healthy here. I've renewed my love affair with Totino's Pizzas and Chef Boyardee. With that having been said, it's good to hear you on the net again. Thanks for letting me check in, and I'll turn it back over to you. Net Control, this is WRH 210.
WRH 210, Craig. Stand by one moment. Flip, we did hear all of your comments, and I did correct the log. And indeed, we do live in interesting times. And yeah, I never really thought of it as a curse, but there's reality there. Thank you for coming back with those comments, and I do have Jacqueline's log entry corrected, so you should be able to see that up there. And with that, Craig, you got in underneath of Flip. We heard the very end of your comments, but we didn't hear anything at the beginning with that double there. So, Craig, if you would please come back, start over from the beginning.
This is WRAH 210, Craig in Ackworth. Good to hear you on the net tonight, Justin. Hats off to your son for his service, and sorry to hear about Julie's work. I hope they're able to recover from that, and she still has a job when this is all over. As I said before, I'm a previous member, and I just wanted to jump in here with my portable to do an ops check. Hopefully I'm getting into Pine Log Repeater okay.
Yep.
And things are going good here at my house. My wife's a nurse, so she's busy being an essential person as she
essential.
is. And I work for the school district, so I am not working at the moment, but fortunately I'm still getting paid. And just trying to do things around here at the house to keep busy. I've renewed my former love affair with Totino's Pizzas and Chef Boyardee. Hopefully that will improve. But with that having been said, thanks again for letting me check in. I'll turn it back over to you, Justin. This is WRAH 210.
Outstanding. Craig, did I skip over you in the log earlier? I have a fear that I did.
Affirmative, yeah, you skipped over me, but no worries. It happens.
Well, my apologies for that. I don't know why that happened, but obviously it did. So again, my apologies. That was nothing was intended by that, and glad that you were able to come in here at the end with your comments. That's interesting that your wife is a nurse. I hope that she's able to remain safe and is able to acquire the necessary personal protective items while she's working. And also interesting that you work for the school system. I appreciate the fact that they're able to pay their staff during this time, and in one sense they almost have to, because if they didn't, then the staff might not be available for the next year or semester or whatever. When they need to come back, those people might have found other work and they won't be able to find them. So on the one hand, they kind of have to keep those people handy and available, but what a challenge it is. And there's so many industries that are paying their people even though they're not at work. Now, Julie is not being paid during this time, but she's going to be just fine with, it sounds to me as though they intend to sign her up. They're going to take care of the sign up for the unemployment benefit. So, and we'll be fine with or without her check. We're going to be okay. So there's no concern there whatsoever. And we were just talking about what are the tax implications from this, because I don't know how they tax unemployment, and if we're not careful, we're going to end up owing a whole bunch of money next year. And we probably need to be sure that we pay close attention and have something set aside so that we don't get surprised by an unexpected tax burden. I always end up owing at the end of the year. I like it when that amount is under $1,000, but oftentimes it's not. So that can be its own challenge. But thank you for your comments, Craig. Glad that you were able to finally get in here, and sorry about missing you there. Do we have any other comments? Any late check-ins? The floor is open. Please call Net Control now.
doing there, friend?
Atlanta 940, Shannon in Ackworth. Thank you for checking in with us tonight. We are doing well. We are just getting through the week. It's been an interesting and challenging week, and but it's almost over. We've got just one more day of this for the weekend to be here, and well, Julie's going to have a nice long weekend. I, however, will have to get up Monday morning and come in here to the other side of the studio and operate the Woodstock office of Norfolk Southern Railroad. How are you doing? Are you? I understand you're kind of, sort of, maybe back to work.
That is kind of true. I'll get to that in just a minute. Before I do, I just want to say I'm glad to hear. I've been monitoring most of this, which I don't normally do, but I'm glad to hear everybody's pretty much doing their thing, staying safe. Houston's super glad to hear from you, friend. Very glad to hear that everybody's doing the right thing. But sorry to hear about Julie's scenario. I know you guys will hold it out, though. You guys knew about this long ago. Hold on, let me break. But yeah, I mean, we are trying to do business as usual, kind of, with super precautions. I'm blessed, and I have a tremendously amazing in-home care woman who's willing to take my little guy, and he can go to daycare there. Every precaution's being met. She's on the phone with the state every day, so she's super great. So that gives me the opportunity to kind of do a little bit of work from home. But I don't know. I hope everybody's feeling good. I think God is, I don't know if we're allowed to talk about God on the radio, but I think He's working, and I think He's doing good things, and I'm just glad to hear everybody's at least on here having good spirits. Back to you, Ned.
All right. Well, that sounds good. I appreciate that update and clarification there on the work situation. Working from home, and EJ is hanging out with some home daycare. That's good stuff, and glad to know that he's being safe as well. So someone had chimed in right there at the end of your TX there, and I didn't catch who it was. If that person could come back, I would appreciate it. This is Atlanta 946 Net Control, standing by for your comment.
Oh, that was Atlanta 57. I was just saying amen to those comments that Shannon just made.
Copy the amen. Yes, so that's the answer to your question. Whether or not you're allowed to say, talk about God or religion on the radio, you can do that. You just can't play any music. So don't be humming any tunes. But yeah, we're allowed to talk about whatever we like to talk about, and we don't have any prohibitions here. So with that, do we have any additional comments? Please call Net Control now.
So I do, if I'm allowed to keep going.
Okay, so there was a double there. I heard Shannon and I heard someone else trying to talk, and Shannon, your signal kind of fell into the dirt. So go back to the location you were transmitting from a moment ago so we can copy your comments, and then we'll take a pause for whoever else it was that was trying to get in there. Shannon, go ahead first.
Sorry if I don't have good signal. I'm on the handheld. But I just had to say that I have never thought of a better time in my life to eat red velvet cake. So I would like to have a red velvet cake virtual eating party if anybody's open to that.
Well, you'll have to stick around, or you'll have to come back on Saturday evening and see if there's any red velvet cake involved in the scavenger hunt. You could be a scavenger hunt winner just for having possession of such an item. So that is a possibility. Great comment. other station that was trying to come in there, we're hearing a lot of noise from you. I'm not sure if you're going to make it in, but we'll take a break here real quick and see if we can get you. Why don't you come on back? Okay, station, got nothing out of that but noise. So sorry about that, but we're not able to copy your comments. Hopefully you can improve your station or your location and be able to get in here for Saturday evening's net or for next week. With that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the net. We've been at this for a while now, and I'm ready to move on. We had a total this evening of 23 check-ins. That includes myself. This concludes the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. I got that out of order. Net control will be returning the repeater back to normal use. Everyone that signed in should sign out. Thank you for allowing me to be your net control tonight. Good night, everyone. This is WQYR 514, Atlanta 946, clear. Good night, everyone. All right.
This is 253 WQMB 274, clear.
Atlanta 32, clear. WQQD 70.
Atlanta 228, 229, WRCK 347, clear.
And 29, WRCU 796, clear.
Atlanta 57, WQZC 882. I'll be clear and monitoring. Good night, everyone.
This is Atlanta 261, WRCT 399, clear and monitoring. Noon 25, noon 26. Last night's webcast was awesome. Like talking to Jimi Hendrix and Buddy Guy. Beautiful. Thank you. Good night, Ned.
Atlanta 780, WQUV 439, clear the net. Good night, everyone.
Atlanta 26, WRAV 450, clear of the virus and clear of the net. Good night, everybody.
Atlanta 940 WRAR 806. Checking out and clearing out. Be safe, everyone. It was super great to hear everybody on the net. Glad I was monitoring chime in. Take care, y'all.
Clear. Good night, everybody.
All right, YouTube folks, I think that's close enough. Okay, so I'm going to move off the camera. I have to in order to close this thing out. But thanks for hanging out with us this evening. We had a great time. Looking forward to hanging out with you folks again real soon. We're going to try to live stream Saturday's event. That will be a Facebook live stream rather than YouTube. The reason we're changing platforms for Saturdays is because we're just trying to make it more accessible to everyone, and we want to incorporate Facebook into the Saturday event. So it'll be one place for people to go that will post their treasure hunt findings, and we can comment there. I'll moderate that page, and we'll hopefully have Scott and Jennifer on with us as well. So definitely looking forward to the challenges of the technical aspect of Saturday. Something we've never done before. Something we may never do again, but hey, I didn't really expect to be doing this live stream every week either for 11 different viewers, but that's okay. It's not about how many viewers we have, it's just about having the resource available. And the more that we do this, the better we can get at it, and eventually we might be good at it, but we're not there yet. Thanks for hanging out with me this evening and the rest of the folks on the net. We couldn't do this without all of you, so I really appreciate every one of you on the air and on YouTube. So thank you. I'm going to have to step off camera to end the program. Good night, everyone.